Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we've got a very great video for you. This is how to ask for lunch or coffee with a key stakeholder. One that can change your life, potentially. Coming up after the intro. Hey guys, ECRG here. Today we're talking about how to ask for lunch or coffee with a key stakeholder. Now, this is very important because just simply asking is, well, for one, they may not say yes or no to that. They may give you no if you don't give this one thing to them. But by not asking, you are potentially missing out on the greatest opportunity of your life or your career. You have no idea what that person will say. And a lot of times, just simply asking, you might get exactly what you want. Just ask the question, guys. Just ask. So without further ado, we're going to come up with a couple ways for you to ask for a key stakeholder, someone you admire, someone you look up to. Maybe you know them on LinkedIn, maybe you know them personally, how to ask them for coffee or lunch. Now, the first thing you've got to do is you've got to be able to provide them value. Now, what kind of value? You're probably saying you don't know this person. There's nothing you can offer them. It's not like you have a business where you're selling t-shirts or something, so you can offer them a t-shirt. What kind of value can I offer this person? Well, for one thing, there's emotional value. So what if it's a friend maybe that you know and you just want to catch up with them? You can ask them for coffee or lunch, just basically out of the goodness of the heart because you're friends with them. They'll likely say yes. But if it's someone that you have no idea about, or or they don't know much about you and they're brand new to you, well, one of the key things that I like to do personally is when you see them around the office, whether you see them, in the lunchroom, you introduce yourself and become friends with them first, and then you come with the ask for a coffee or lunch. And you can phrase it like, after you become friends with them or you see them around the office a bunch, you know their name, obviously. You could say, hey, I would really like to get lunch with you. Maybe we could talk more about X. Or, hey, I'd really like to get some coffee with you one day before work, or maybe, a lunch break or something like that to talk to you about Y. So that's a really good way to, let someone know you first. They see you around the office, you've talked to them a few times, and then you give them a reason why you want to talk about or what you want to talk about. So it's not weird. So it's not like you're asking them out on a date or anything like that. Of course, with all these allegations coming out, you want to be wary about how it can come off. So it's easy to just, say why you want to meet them out of the office for whatever reason. So that's something to keep in mind. So you've got to provide value, and that's one way to do it, become friends with them. Now, another way to do it is to, if you are in a position of power, you can provide them information that they may want, and it can be a dual exchange like that. So it's not just one-sided. Now, let's say, because we're in clinical research, we talk about, let's say you're in data management and you want to have lunch with a project manager. Maybe you want to be a project manager one day, or you want to make that move. There's obviously a clear coexistence. Maybe the project manager wants to know a little bit more about data management, and the data manager wants to know a little bit more about project management. That's a good match for you guys to go have a coffee together, and you can provide them value. They can provide you some value. So that's an equal exchange. But what about when it's not so obvious? How can you ask? Like, for example, on LinkedIn, you see someone on LinkedIn that you want to get coffee or lunch with. How can you provide them value in order to finally get a coffee or lunch out of them? Now, that's a much harder question. So there's not obviously one way to do it or one simple way to do this, but you can try the just ask method, the spray and pray. You ask a lot of people because it's too hard to come with a value proposition, and that works sometimes. Two, another one I like to do is you ask for something lesser of them. So maybe a coffee, like to meet them out, for them to waste their gas and their time for you to meet them out, is a little too much of an ask, you feel like. So why don't you ask them for a 10-minute phone call where you can talk on the phone? They can do that anywhere, any place, and you can ask them the questions you may have. And then later, as you develop your relationship, you ask for that lunch or that coffee, that in-person meeting, and you can dive more into those topics that you want to ask them about. But how do you provide value up front? Well, it comes from what you have. You've got to analyze what you have to offer. If you have nothing to offer, there's usually something everyone can offer. But if you feel like you have nothing to offer, or you don't know what you have to offer, you've got to first analyze that and see what you can offer, and then you offer them whatever you have to offer. Whether it's someone who's looking for a mentor, you can offer to be their mentee, or you can offer to work for them for free. You can offer them some advice if you have some advice on certain things. You've got to think about what you have to offer that person, and then it becomes easier to get them out for the ask on whether you want lunch or coffee or whatever it is, or a drink. Also, you want to think about, maybe that person really likes a certain restaurant. So the ask in itself is you pay for a dinner to that restaurant. You can find out a lot about people on social media. So I hate to sound all stalkerish and stuff, but everyone usually has a Facebook or an Instagram with pictures. So you can see where they like to go, where they like to be. And you can say, hey, I know you may like such and such restaurant. How about we go there, have a quick bite on me? So that can be the offer as well, and the value that you provide. So multiple different ways to provide value. Usually someone is going to have a lot harder time saying yes to something where there's no value proposition for them. So make it easy on people by providing them some kind of value. Usually not monetary. There's going to have to be something added on top. Some other reason for them to want to be there with you to get lunch or coffee. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. This is something that's very, very important. Literally, I've gotten positions just on people that I've known. And people are like, man, how did you get that position? How did you get into that? How did you do that? People, networking. So always be on, always make sure that you have I call it a sales funnel. Always have a way to get people into your funnel, whether it's a name. Don't discount any single person, whether you're at the gym working out, whether you're, walking to your deck or your car deck or your carport or something. Anyone, everyone. Network. Just because they can't help you today doesn't mean they can't help you in 5 years. And they're likely going to remember you if you were nice to them or you were an asshole to them. So network. So that was a quick video, maybe some pointers, some tips on how you can ask someone for lunch or coffee. Usually the easiest way is in person, I feel like, is the easiest way. People find it a lot harder to say no in person rather than through a screen. So keep that in mind. It's a lot easier to say no through a LinkedIn message than it is in person. So keep that in mind, guys. As always, like this video, share this video with as many people as you can. Email us at eliteclinicalgroup@gmail.com for any extra inquiries you may have. Also, comment down below. What are your tips? What are your tips for getting someone to go to lunch or coffee with you? Do you just ask, or do you provide some value in exchange? Put some tips down below. Help out our community. All right, guys. Take care.